It's just like a conversation, so I don't feel like you need to say there's no right or wrong. Of course.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not going to be good at this.
There's no good or bad.
Yeah.
It's just a portrait, kind of.
Reality.
It's just reality.
Do you think?
Okay.
They took their bodies and brought them together. 2 separate bringings on 2 separate nights made 2 others, beings that grew arms and legs, and stood and went out into the world. From watching them walk, you would never know from whence they came. We look alike, it is said. I have her eyes, his nose. He has his skin, her smile. We speak similarly, or have inherited traits from one another. Sometimes our movements are alike, the way we hold ourselves in crowds, the expressions we wear while running, the way we laugh. But from looking, there is no way to guess that a common blood runs through us, that we were once bound by a thick and rubbery cord, that the bringing together of 2 bodies created these other 2. We live in our heads. We 4, but we humans too. We invent mythologies about our worlds, about our histories. Us swimming wildly, sometimes joyous in our freedom, other times desperate in our isolation. Us swimming in a rough sea of chaos and grasping our wet fingers at the driftwood that remains from our experiences, collecting it around us and slowly building a raft, then a boat, then an island upon which we can settle. Our minds are wild and magnificent and treacherous landscapes. But there is one thing, this one thing that ties us to this earth, to this air, to the world around us, to one another. The blood in us, and the knowledge, without memory, of our having been birthed of another person. The faith in our physical being, and blind belief in its being a result of 2 others' physical beings. The faith in the act and presence of love. We are told this story, that 2 bodies came together and thus we were. Thus we are. But we have no proof of this act, no living memory or photographs or documents, no proof besides ourselves. Have we been able to trust in anything with such certainty since? Mother, father, brother, father, mother, sister, husband, son, daughter, wife, daughter, son, mater, pater, frater, soror, family. You will never know how much I love you. It hurts to tell how much. It is the hardest thing. It is the only thing keeping me on this earth. To know that you are there is to be held even when my body is lonely and afraid. There is music that brings us together, and I think if we could do nothing but sing and play all day long and together, it's what the bunch of us would do. Perhaps the only real tragedy is that we can't, or at least we haven't found a way to yet. To not think I am not thinking of you every moment. I just want you to be happy. Well, I'm working on it, okay?
Jen said something, she was like, don't think about things too much, because if you think about them, you won't do them. Like, if you thought about having kids, if you thought about it too much, you really wouldn't do it.
Yeah. On the other hand, I've heard parents say, a friend of mine asked his mom, said, Mom, why did you have kids? And she said, we did it because it was fun,
What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
Ever had to do? Well, it's I think that's kind of a strange question because it's like, I feel like it's an ongoing process, I feel like I'm in the hardest thing right now as we're speaking. Just figuring all this shit out. Trying to act the way that you say you will. I think the hardest thing is really not so much, it's not really one thing that can be shown in like concerted effort or something like that, like becoming, good at a certain activity. I think it's more just like the whole thing itself is just life. I don't know, this might be a little too abstract to like put on camera, but like I don't think you can really, there's no one single hard thing that I can describe that would really be correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think the hardest thing is probably just like being able to hold it all together, considering all the different parts of your life, whether it be family, friends, music, your own aspirations. Yeah, it's scary.
What is magic to you?
Christmas. I see old friends only every once in a while. That's kind of magical. Nancy comes from Turkey. I see Anne and Marianne who live in New Jersey. Once in a while. I think when Nancy comes, it's kind of magical. Nancy and Judy and I would go to a diner in Elmhurst and spend a long time there and catch up. And travel is magical. I'd like to do more traveling.
Well, I had another thought about what you asked about magic, and that is the other thought that I had after my children were born is that, you know, there's got to be something like illegal about this, that just ordinary people are allowed to do this. You know, just bring another human being into the world, you know, without getting permission from anybody. And, you know, like maybe not everybody's qualified to do it. And maybe I'm not qualified to do it, you know, but we just all go around, you know, willy-nilly just procreating and
Going for it.
and then, you know, we created another neurotic person, you know.
I hope that's not all you created.
No, but, you know,
I know.
it just seemed like such an overwhelming thing to have done and like to be personally responsible for, you know.
You got us through the toughest years.
Yeah.
You got us through the years when we were least independent, you know?
Well,
so.
yeah, you know, like we didn't do a terrible job. I mean, I won't find out, I guess, until you've written the tell-all.
Right.
But
You did a great job.
you know, it just did. It weighed upon me like the seriousness of, you know, what we had done. But like I said, you know, that's like the closest thing to you ever seeing real magic in real life, in my opinion.
Once it felt safe. Once it was warm, once impenetrable, once joyous. Someday I too will mean safe for someone else. As their arms held me, and their bodies made and fed mine, as their words kept me from breaking apart, mine will too for somebody. What occurs in between, though? Must you find something in yourself before you make it with another? Or are we really alone until then, adrift and groundless? Are we always never alone? Veins, maps under our skin, running red and blue with blood that is our commonality. Maybe it's there in moments with strangers, in homes we visit, in homes we make, in music, in laughter. Is it ever there? Is it never there? Is it always there? It is in the mere fact that we exist. It is a space between two others, between the being held and the holding, the being told and the telling, the faith in another and the faith in yourself. Are we learning to hold, to tell, to know? What if you don't learn to keep your own faith before you become somebody else's? Isn't everything a between place? Yes, at least it feels like it. And you are able to overlook your stasis by means of the in-between. And it will only feel like you once had faith in something once you are entirely certain that you've lost it. And you must hope you are moving towards another island and won't be swimming for eternity. I suppose for you, for all of us, there are glimmers and glows of it, and great bursts of it in music. Red-faced and impassioned, blowing into the clarinet, songbird and sweet-voiced in all places, hunched over your blues. It is one thing that, if it isn't in itself an island, At least it distracts us from the fact of our wild-bodied swimming. Because you were, I am.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. We'll drink a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.